You'll be hearing from my lawyers.
I just finished a video on the first lawsuit. As I'm finishing the video, it's been reported that Drake has launched a second legal action against UMG over the Not Like Us song. That is egregious. You're disgusting, bro. Get this man far away from the genre and the culture of hip hop. Please. Sometimes you gotta pop out and sue niggas. First and foremost, all these lawsuits involved in beef is disgusting work, Drake. Absolutely horrible. I thought you were better than that, and that's saying a lot.
Drake! Yes!
Drake, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought you fed him the information. Didn't he say that? We fed you the information?
We plotted for a week and then we fed you the information.
Talk about him liking young girls, that's a gift for me.
Heard it on the Button podcast. It's gotta be true. That was on Taylor Made Freestyle. And then on the Heart Part 6, you said you fed him all this information. This is why Kendrick said in Meet the Grams, why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in. And this is the prime example. Like, the thing that's crazy is, number one, Drake, you said that Kendrick's son wasn't his. It was Dave Freeze. And then you called Kendrick Lamar a woman beater on the record to then turn around and get mad and say that this is defamation of character because he said certified pedophiles. Taking charge at Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us is insanity because Drake, you did the same exact thing with Family Matters and you started it. You provoked him. You urged him. You were the one that brought up Millie Bobby Brown and your weird behavior with her in your own diss track. Make it make sense. Not to mention, if you're gonna do all this to Kendrick and Universal Music Group, imagine what Megan Thee Stallion could do to you. This is the weakest move I've ever seen from a hip-hop superstar in my lifetime. I personally feel like Stephen A. Smith when Kevin Durant went to the Golden State Warriors.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple.
Absolutely egregious on every level. And the audacity of you Drake fans to go on social media and treat this man like he is some freedom fighter for artists across the world. Please, please. So Drake is taking aim not at Kendrick, but at Universal Music Group. All right. Universal Music Group, the CEO is Lucien Grange. This man right here. He's rich. Okay. Interesting fact, his son, his name is Elliot, and he's the CEO of Atlantic Records. Think about that. They control most of the music industry. Every big artist you can think of, Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars, Burna Boy, the list goes on and on.
Him, her, him, bodies.
They're all under these two umbrellas. With that control comes a lot of money. And guess who they gave a lot of money to? Drake. Okay, they gave him a LeBron James level contract. Disgusting amounts of money. 400 M's to be exact. And Drake, he feel like he deserves more than 400 M's. He said it in the song here.
Cause my last record deal was 400 M's. These days, that's a low bar, nigga.
Well deserved. He wants more money. He wants to renegotiate his deal. I believe he has one album left under this contract. Now, if you could tell based on the tone of For All the Dogs, it looks like Lucien, the CEO, was pretty much like, yeah, bruh, we're not giving you that kind of money. And that's why you get a record like this, where Drake says, who the CEO of Universal, they mistaken, because Google's saying Lucien, but that just doesn't make sense. Who's filling up the piggy bank? Who bringing home the bacon? Why are you dissing the CEO? Oh, we know why. Because they're not giving you the same amounts of money. And then the beef happens. You lose the beef. You see that Kendrick, who's under Universal Music Group as well, is getting his streams through the roof. And now all of a sudden, you look at the same things benefiting Kendrick Lamar that once benefited you. Y'all think I'm lying? This was Spotify in 2018. This is when Spotify had Drake on every single playlist. Bay, Swagger, songs to sing in the car, hanging out, relaxing, happy hits, rap caviar, summer party, throwback workout, bachata lovers, get turned. Did that say bachata lovers? If I'm listening to bachata music, you think I want to hear some goddamn Drake? They had Drake on a gospel playlist. Imagine coming back from Sunday service and you hear a diss record of Pusha T. That's how they were moving in 2018 for Drake. I look at this whole thing and I don't respect it at all. Look, if there's something that's great coming from this for smaller artists out there to get their music to the forefront and maybe get more visibility over, say, bigger artists who don't deserve it as much, then bravo. But Drake is not the one we should applaud. This is nasty work because he's pretty much taking credit for what everybody else was speaking on back in the day. Vince Staples was talking about this very thing and nobody batted an eye. Everybody was like, shut up, Vince. We ain't trying to hear that. We want to talk about Kendrick and Drake and the beef.
Got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we getting priced out of our contracts. We getting priced out of our imprints.
I looked at this tweet right here. This is Rory. He's very popular from the podcast industry. And he posts this whole thing about how this is going to be a beautiful thing moving forward for artists. And then Mal, he said the same thing. And then I saw this tweet right here. I realized that this is all coming from the Rory and Mal podcast, which I hate that podcast. Honestly, I think that is one of the worst things to listen to. The thing that bothers me with this is that this approach that Drake is trying to save all of these music artists, when Drake just went on a stream with someone who is not attached to hip hop in any way and said hip hop is weird.
Rap music is weird now anyway. I want to hear what you listen to. There we go.
He said hip hop is weird. He called Steve Lacy a fragile op. Like all the worst things to represent the culture, Drake did on that stream.
You got a good heart, my nigga. Stop trying to be tough. You are a bitch. You was born a bitch. You led prayer.
One thing I want to point out here, there's a huge difference in mystique between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, right? The biggest mistake Drake has made over the last couple of years, I think he's made himself too visible. Whereas Kendrick, he kept it about the music. He speaks through the music, right? When you look at his Twitter, you see only links to the music he's putting out or the performances he's putting out. His year consists of Like That, Euphoria, 616 in LA, Meet the Grams, Not Like Us. After that, he did the college graduation in Compton where he spoke to the kids. Then he did the Pop Out. After the Pop Out, he did the Not Like Us music video. Then he did the Super Bowl announcement, Watch the Party Die. And then from there, he announces GNX, the album. Every single move he's made is efficient. He doesn't do too much. You don't hear from him unless there's something he wants the world to desperately hear with the message. Whereas Drake, I'm not going to lie, you're all over the place. After the beef, you put out Wagwan Delilah. You continue to go on all these little spurts where you post something on Instagram that's cryptic and that's aimed at one of your ops. You continue to do these gambling streams. Then you go to the Toronto Raptors game and you try to taunt DeMar DeRozan, and you're clearly whispering under your breath. You're not saying anything loud and bold to him. You call hip hop weird, yet we are supposed to believe that Drake did this whole thing, taking Spotify and Universal Music Group and holding them accountable, and we're supposed to believe you're doing it for your fellow hip hop artists. You're not. You just called hip hop weird. Now all of a sudden, you have caused economic harm to your damn self. You want to know why Drake is probably mad? He probably had a meeting renegotiating his contract after the beef. And they probably looked at him and said, your reputation has taken a massive hit. We're not giving you this money. And he's probably like, well, y'all are the reasons why my stock is tanking, because the money that I made y'all are putting in to Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. And they're like, the label, they're like, well, you got to take that up with Kendrick. That has nothing to do with us. We're just doing our job. He's one of our artists. He's under our umbrella. We're supposed to promote his music. I'm telling you right now, this is exactly how that conversation went.
The nigga diss me every time I see him. Acting like he the one in charge and shit. In Compton, he is the one. You lose. Every time you bite with that nigga, and I'm the one that pays for it.
And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just because you don't like the way another nigga talk.
It's really all in bad taste, bro. And when you do interviews with Bobby and you do interviews with this kid and you tell him, hey, don't play The Weeknd, you call Steve Lacy a fragile op. Like, come on, bro. Of all the people you could have dissed from the pop out, you dissed Steve Lacy. I wish he would have dissed Tyler, the Creator. That would have been the end of Drake. Don't you dare talk about Tyler, because we will be at your neck. I promise you that. It'll be over. I dare you. I double dare you. Please. That's not a fan base you want to go after. And then you go after NFR. Come on, bro. This is NFR, bro. You put them in the RICO? Yo, shout out to the NFR podcast. That's huge. And look, I understand business tactics. If Drake wants to get out of his deal and he's doing this as a way to push himself out without giving Universal Music Group that one last album that he has owed, then more power to him. Just don't make him out to be some freedom fighter. He is a sore loser that lost the battle, and now he's not getting the money that he thinks he deserves, so now he's doing all of this. Okay, he is a spoiled kid that is used to his mama getting him McDonald's. He got a bad grade. His teacher was like, yo, he needs to be disciplined. And then his parents was in the car, and then he was like, mama, McDonald's. And then his mom was like, nah, we got some food in the fridge. And he got pissed off. That's essentially what happened. Meanwhile, the rest of the culture, we bumping that GNX.
Watch a nigga do it.
Buster.
I don't know if y'all should be playing that Kendrick. Y'all want to get a lawsuit up here.
And we're going to talk about that album too. That's going to be the next video. But the last thing I'll say, and this is to Drake, because like I said, there was once a time I was a huge Drake fan. Drake, all he needed to do was this, right? The Heart Part 6 comes out. The internet didn't take it too well. Kendrick Lamar goes on a huge run. If I was in Drake's camp, I would have said, hey, Drake, let's hide out for a year. 365 days. Drake should have went away for a whole year. Don't drop no music. Don't do no features. Don't do no streams. Don't do no IG lives. Don't go to no hookah lounges. Chill out in your crib, in your billion-dollar mansion. Relax and work on the best work you could possibly put out. And I would have released an album. He has one album left on his deal. I would have dropped a Scary Hours kind of project, made it seem like it was an album, and I would give that to Universal Music Group. Be like, yo, here. And they would have been like, oh my God, this is going to be huge. Everybody's been wondering what Drake's been up to. He's been gone for a year. You should have dropped that and pulled a Frank Ocean. Drop that, and then from there, you put out the actual album on that 100 gigabytes thing you got going on. Because I actually think there's some brilliance in that. If he wants to create his own platform and say, hey, I'm not doing the streaming route, that would have been good for music. I think a lot of artists would have followed it. And the same way we talk about that move Frank Ocean did back when he dropped Endless to get out of his deal and then dropped Blonde under his own label, his own imprint, I think Drake would have been a genius to do the same thing. And if it was a quality album and it was nice, short, concise, like nothing was the same, we would have all praised him for it. But no, what do? You drop Wagwan Delilah, you do more antics on streaming, and now you have this lawsuit and it just looks terrible. I don't know what the plot is anymore for Aubrey. I don't. But I'll be streaming Kendrick. It's only going to get better from here, man. That Super Bowl performance is going to hit like crack in the 80s. Y'all be classy, and I'll see y'all soon. This has been another Anthony Aiken Jr. video, and as always with the channel, we end off with a hug. Bring it in.